Alright, with any hope this will be a quick video. That's the plan anyway. So just a little bit on the asymmetry, which has come up again. The difference between a happy man and an unhappy man, and the fact that they're not reciprocals. Like one isn't a +5 and one isn't a -5, and you just balance it out and say, hey, we broke even. That kind of asymmetry. They're not reciprocals. There's no connected balance between the two. That's the argument, and it's the kind of the focus of negative utilitarianism is a realization that the negative has somehow more meaning than positives, especially in the context that you need to generate some sort of need or desire to make something valuable, that hunger is what makes something valuable, not the thing in and of itself kind of argument. That also filters into this equation. But so let's just deal with the basic asymmetry. I think it'll be a roundtable subject eventually. So this is just sort of a pre-video about one way to look at it. So Benatar just does the math the simple way and just says, the person that doesn't exist is in a fail-safe container. No harm can take place, and that's a good thing. Okay, and that when you have somebody in harm's way, that's a bad thing. So that's part of the simple math, that you can do no damage, and that anything likewise there's no imperative, there's no obvious imperative to save somebody from a non-harmful condition. If something's doing just fine, you don't sit there and rescue it from just fine to elevate it to some better place than just fine kind of argument. So I guess the simple way to look at it is, if you have two choices, creating a happy person, a new happy person, or rescuing somebody from suffering, completely restoring them to some good state. Let's not say it has to be bliss, but just relieve their suffering and take away the negative, the badness of their condition. So you have those two choices: create a new happy person or rescue somebody from a bad condition. It seems obvious which one you do. And the obvious part comes into the fact that if you rescue the suffering person, it's effectively the same thing as creating the happy person. You can't really take away the suffering without consequentially, if they remain conscious, creating comfort. And comfort could be argued to be, you can't really do better than that, theoretically. It's a good place to be. It's unimaginable as anything other than rather blissful. So anyway, to have nothing, no ache, no problems, nothing to say I need to change my condition. So that's where it gets also a little bit, the asymmetry sort of becomes obvious, is this whole distinction from not needing anything to satisfying a desire gets a little bit complicated, because it's all wrapped around what is exactly bliss. Is bliss the absence of need and desire, some antagonism obliging you to have something, or is bliss the absence of any need, the absence of any desire, the absence of any volition to change your condition? You're just perfectly comfortable. Perfect comfort sounds pretty good. It sounds probably better than happy, but whatever. It's as good as, anyway. So that's sort of the simple argument, is that if you have the two choices, you'd go with fixing the broken, because fixing the broken gets you the same thing in the end. It takes away the negative, obviously, because you fix the broken, so you subtract the negative from the list. And also, the end product is going to be something in a comfortable or good state. So you've essentially created the same thing as the happy person. So you got your new happy person by reclamating something that is unhappy. So there was no need to create the happy person. And if you create the happy person, you leave the negative existing, there's every possibility that your happy person will turn into a negative. And then you'll have the liability of having another person in a negative state to reclimate to some sort of positive state. So there's no way to really gain by creating the happy person when there are negative things to be reclamated into positive things. So as long as negatives exist, creating new positives makes little or no sense. It certainly doesn't make any sense as a solution to the negative deficit. And the negative deficit's always going to be more substantial or meaningful. You're still not going to erase it. No matter how many positives you create, they're not going to undo the negative. They're not going to make it go away or yeah, so that metaphor, that understanding you can get by just understanding how one bad apple ruins a pie. The idea that if 5 people do something and one of the people will be killed doing it, that fact is substantial and makes doing it, negates the value of doing it. Just even though a nuclear power plant could provide comfort and joy to millions of people, but if it irradiates 10, and horribly, you're still going to be logically sensible enough to know that's not an equation you can accept. You're not going to take your gratification out of something else's suffering if you have any kind of logic running inside you. So anyway, that just illustrates the essence of the asymmetry, is that if I gave you the choice to reclimate somebody suffering or create a new happy person, I don't think you can give me a logical reason why you would create the new happy person. So that sort of just illustrates that there is an imbalance between these two things. Yeah, that's probably enough. Keep it short and simple and such. So, till next time.